Any questions? Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jayakaramare Omavita Namaste, Narashiyaya. Acharya saved the whole world. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Holy Shri God, Paramacharya Saraswati Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Guru Parampara ki Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Dam Kandalari Kali Yogaran ki Ravandam ki Ravandam ki Raghunath Puri ki Ochi Devi ki Bhakti Devi ki Joy Bhakti Devi ki Glory to the Swami. Glory to the Swami. Glory to the Swami. Glory to Shri Guru and Shri Guru. His Holiness Trivikrama Swami Maharaj ki Trivikrama Swami Maharaj ki Trivikrama Swami Maharaj ki Jai Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur Premanand. Everybody knows it? Yes. People can come closer.
You can sit here. Yeah. Hare Krishna, everybody, all Prabhuji's come in the front. You can go in.
What about another? Do you know Yasomati Nandana? Yasomati Nandana?
Yes. Can everybody go and browse Yashomati Nandan Kirtan in your mobile phone? I need the projector. Yeah, bring that here first. Bring that here. Keep it here. No, turn my side.
I really hate that noise. I mean, I really hate it.
Sorry, Maharaj.
Is it going to happen again?
No, it will not. Sure, Maharaj.
It doesn't coming in. Hare Krishna. Yasomati Nandana. It's still making.
Yeah.
Yasomati Nandana Rajavara Nagara Ukularanjana Kana.
Yasomati Nandana Rajavara Nagara Ukularanjana Kana.
Yasomati Nandana Rajavara Nagara Ukularanjana Kana.
Yasomati Nandana
Maybe translation to Maharaj.
Lord Krishna is Hare Krishna. Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Vraja, the delight of Gokula Kana, a nickname of Krishna, the wealth of the lives of gopis. He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kalya serpent. These pure holy names, these pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forests of Vraja. He is ever youthful and is the best of the lovers. He is always playing on a flute and he is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Vraja, the destroyer of the various demoniac dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cow, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land, and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief, and the beautiful covered boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wanders along the banks of the river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young damsels of Raja who were bathing there. He delights in the mellows of Rasa dance. He is very merciful, the lover of beloved Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the shelter and the only refuge of Thakur Bhakti Vinoda.
See, we're told by various religions that we should love God. But how can we love God if we don't know about it? Just that Allah Akbar or something. But here, so much description. Our God is great. That's okay, God is great. But how can you just love something great? But here we can love. Here there's so much to love about Krishna. He steals the butter from the cowherd, the elderly cowherd ladies. It's like a mischievous child. He performs superhuman activities from the very childhood, lifting Govardhan Hill. So we can relate that this is a person, and a person who has likes and dislikes. Every person, like Christ also said, has a will. Thy will be done. So Krishna also, God also has a will. If he's just impersonal, that means we're more than him because we can think and feel and will. But he's just an energy. No, he's the source of the energy. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. The Brahman energy is resting on Krishna, just like this table is resting on the floor. So nothing outside of Krishna. Ham sarvasya paralo. In the 10th chapter, he declared, for me, everything material and spiritual comes. At the same time, he's a naughty child. He's a lover of the gopis. So this is something inconceivable. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this philosophy of achinta veda veda tattva. Simultaneously one and different. We shouldn't think that with our little brain, here we are in one little place in India, and India is one country in all so many countries, and the earth is one planet and so many planets, and so we shouldn't think that we're so important. We're very minute amsa. Therefore, what is our qualification to know the absolute truth? Only way if the absolute truth agrees to reveal himself to us. Otherwise, these big scientists, they want to tell us everything came from a big bang, and then they're going to tell us what caused the big bang. You know, this is just speculation. But because they have a big brain that they can juggle words, people accept it. Who is this guy who just left his body? Hawkins or something? He's famous. Why? Because he can think. And that's all he was doing, speculating. What is the use of that thinking? If he could come out of that wheelchair, and then we say, oh, no, but no, he's very much subjected to the laws of material nature. And the laws of material nature are working under Krishna. He clearly describes. These gunas, these modes of material nature are under my control. And nobody can escape that unless we come to the transcendental position. That's mentioned in the 14th chapter. You are all intelligent people, I can see. You should study this Bhagavad Gita backwards and forward because it's got a wonderful information there. And then your doubts will be removed. This is the whole thing, right? We met Srila Prabhupada and we were impressed. He was so convinced about what he was doing. So convinced. There was no shadow of a doubt. Once he was debating with a scholar, the scholar stopped and said, how do you know that you know? So Prabhupada had that. He was so convinced. And how he knew? Because he got it from his spiritual master, originally from Krishna, it's coming down. Our process is easy. We don't have to be a great thinker or something. We just have to agree to accept the message as Krishna spoke to Arjuna, or as is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. You don't have to, you can say, overthink it. That described there, one of the four people who don't come to Krishna, Mayayata Paritanyana, those who are too smart. I probably once said there's a Bengali saying that if someone is over intelligent, he should be shot. Because how intelligent can you be? Like we were in one little room here, we have a limited brain. And so how are we going to know everything? That's what the scientists want. They want to bring everything in, and they can dissect it, and with the telescope, they're going to know everything. No, it's not like that. The absolute truth happens to be a person. And unless he agrees to reveal himself to you, you're not going to know him. You're going to remain in illusion. This Maya is called illusion. Illusion that I'm important. Everybody is born with false ego, even the little child on a plane, right? They don't care if they disturb 200 people. Because they're thinking like that, I'm the center of the universe. Actually, the psychiatrists say that at a certain age, the child thinks he's the center of the universe. So this is our disease. Everyone is born with this disease of false ego. And so that's why the Buddhists and the Mayavadis, they want to eliminate the ego. But we say false ego is like -1. So eliminating makes it 0. So that's an improvement. But why not +1? +1 is where we're getting information that yes, you have an identity. What is that identity? Das Anudas. You're the servant of the gopis in Vrindavan. When Sanat Goswami came to Lord Chaitanya embraced him. He said, first of all, he told him, you've done what nobody else can do in this material world, given up big position. He was the prime minister of the whole country, but he gave it up just to sit at the feet of Lord Chaitanya. And then Sanat Goswami asked 2 questions. Kayami, Bengali, right? Who am I? And why do I suffer? That's a good question. Most people never even think about it. If they think about it, well, that's the nature. You have to suffer in order to enjoy or something. But no, our nature is Satchidananda, full of knowledge, eternity, and bliss. We're meant to enjoy it perpetually, without a break, and varieties. Once we were on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur, and we were out in the field, and Prabhupada said, if Bhaktivedanta Swami sat down here, who would come? So he built a big temple to bring people there. And the other side is, if you're just sitting down in the field for eternity, you'll think, oh, what am I doing here? Let's go to Calcutta and see what's happening. In other words, all 3 features have to be there. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Ananda means variety. If you're not doing anything, you're just being, where's the bliss? So we want bliss. It means variety. Variety is the spice of life. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. But they're preaching that everything becomes 1 or everything is 0. Where's the variety? We're looking for happiness. This is because we're originally Krishna conscious, so we want to connect with that joy again. We made a mistake. We put ourselves in the center. In the spiritual world, everybody agrees to put Krishna in the center, but we're born thinking that we're the center. This child now, he's ready to cause disturbance because why not? Why not? The mentality is there. I'm the center. It's a cultural shock on the roads here for me, the way people drive. So everyone wants to get ahead, right? Nobody's saying, okay, you can go. Why? Because it's the same disease, false ego. I should be the one who gets there first. And that's why we study the history. I was in a Gurukul in Vrindavan, and I was talking to the boys 3 years ago. And I said, so what did you study today? And they said, we studied history. I said, and what did you learn in history? Yeah, we learned that history is one war after another. That's how we divide history. You know? The Pakistani war, Bangladesh war, World War I, World War II. It goes on. Now there's Ukrainian war. It's bound to happen because everybody loves himself the most. Therefore, the parents have to train the child. No, you can't hit your brother. You can't. Why not? I want to. No, you can't. There has to be this training. You all know that. So when we're coming on the spiritual side, then we agreed to be trained by Prabhupada. That was our only qualification. We didn't know Bhagavad Gita. We didn't know this culture. It's a wonderful culture. So you have advantage over us in so many ways, all of you. But the only qualification we had was we agreed to allow Prabhupada to guide us. It's not so hard, just agree. And then he takes charge. He'll help us. And if you want to act independently, at least with me, he chastised me. He chastised me a few times. Strongly. I don't like to brag about it because I was a fool, and his chastisement was required, and I was, you can say, fortunate enough that I could tolerate it without thinking that he had some motive. Because generally, if somebody, gets too in our face, so to speak, at their office or whatever, then we think that we see there's some motive there. They're not pure. There's some envy, maybe. And so it causes friction. We feel tense. We maybe even feel like retaliating. This is what keeps the world in chaos. There's always retaliation. So with Prabhupada, we could see, at least I was convinced in the early days, that he was my well-wisher, that I didn't have to, defend myself, or I could be even humiliated. He didn't humiliate us, but we were grown people, but he did correct us, and sometimes in public. But everybody knew that was mercy. At least I knew it. And anybody intelligent could see that Prabhupada signed every letter, your ever well-wisher. He had no malice, absolutely none. He was always, and loved everybody. He wanted everybody to come back to Godhead. That was his mood. Once we were with Srila Prabhupada in London, and I was fortunate because I was like the senior brahmachari there, so I was giving the service of giving massage to Prabhupada. So every day at 11 o'clock, we were staying at John Lennon's estate of the Beatles. I would go and I'd call out, say, hi, Bo, and he'd say, come on. I'd come up. And then the first time, he taught me how to do it, right? On his head, we massaged with sandalwood oil. The rest of his body was mustard seed oil. And then we finished with his feet. And then maybe 45 minutes or 1 hour. So the first time I did it, I never gave massage before. I was massaging like that and so on. And then when I finished, I said, Prabhupada, I never gave massage before. I'm going to go to the library today and get a book on how to give massage. Right? Why not? Prabhupada, not necessary. He said, you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will tell you how to give massage. Well, that was Prabhupada's mood. He wanted us to, from wherever position we are, we don't have to change our position. We don't have to accumulate some knowledge or money or something in order to get into devotional service. You can begin from any platform. That's the wonderful thing about devotional service. You don't have to qualify. Only qualification is your desire to please Krishna. That qualification can happen. And Prabhupada is the representative of Krishna. Another time we were at the same period, Prabhupada was giving class, and in the evening Bhagavad Gita class, and he at one point he said how he was the spiritual master was the representative of Krishna, and the way he said it, and I was very close to him. I got like a mystical experience that this is not an ordinary person. He's just sitting a few feet away from me, but he's really a representative of Krishna, and he's right here. Like that, I had some kind of realization. So next day I was going to give a massage, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, I very much like your class last night. And Prabhupada said, oh, what part did you like? And I told him that how he said he was the representative of Krishna. So Prabhupada accepted that. I can tell another story how I was flattering him and he didn't accept it. He changed it. But this time he accepted it fully. And then he turned it around and gave it back. That was the way Prabhupada dealt. He said, you also can be representative of Krishna. When you say, Prabhupada said, he used his own name, or Krishna said, then you're also representing Krishna. See, represent. It's easy. You just read, even a child can do it. There was a child, what was it? Malati's daughter. Huh? Oh yeah, you remember better than me. I met her. I mean, I was there. So she would go up to people, like she was 4 years old or something. She would go up to adults and walk in. Hello, do you know who God is? And they would look at us. No, who is God? Krishna. And Prabhupada liked that. He said, this is preaching. So even a 4-year-old child can preach. We don't have to, first of all, become Mahabhagavats, and then we can preach to our friends, to our children, to us, and try to bring them to this point of pleasing Krishna. It's a natural thing once we get the habit. I sometimes give the example of riding a bicycle. It seems very formidable. How's it going to stand up, right? But once you get the technique, but once you get the hang of it, it's easy to ride a bicycle. But it looks a little awesome. It's going to tip over. But once you realize that this energy that you're moving forward will keep it in front, then it's easy. So something like that with Krishna consciousness. In the beginning, it may seem difficult, but I see for you all, it's not difficult. It's in your blood. You people are really into the chanting. I'm in awe, and that so many of you are so fired up to chant the holy name with such enthusiasm. Where do you get all that enthusiasm from? Like Prahlad said to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was saying, where do you get the energy to defy me? He said, I get it from the same place you get your energy. From Krishna. So this is it. Krishna is already working here. And you're all educated people, huh? So what is that? Where do you meet regularly? Here? Yeah. This is not big enough. Come on. Well, how are we going to do? Find a better place. And you're pretty far out, and you're near the airport, so it's going to be convenient. You can catch the sannyasis. Come here. So we already have 3 centers in Hyderabad, right? Yes. I told you I was going to kick you next time. I think everybody can hear me without any mic. Can you hear me?
No, this I wanted to give if somebody wants to talk.
Yeah. But still, you broke your promise. Okay, who's talking? One question?
Maharaj, about this place, just if I can say a few words. Am I audible, Maharaj? Can you
Yeah.
hear? Yeah.
You want the microphone?
No, it will shout, Maharaj. Yeah. So, Maharaj, we are around 6 to 7 Bhakti Rikshas here.
6
Bhakti Rikshas, Satsangs. 6 to 7 groups.
So you don't all in one group, huh?
We are one group, and we also have small groups within us.
Okay.
So here in this locality, this is called as high-tech city.
High-tech city.
Yeah, it's all technology and all the big companies. You would have seen big buildings that were coming.
Right.
So we all work in all those buildings. Like somebody works for Amazon, somebody works for Microsoft, like that. And we all have satsangs on Saturday. So on Sunday morning, we have separate satsangs. And Sunday evening, we have one combined satsang.
Here.
Yeah, not here, this house. We take a hall. We take a bigger hall.
That's what I was going to say. Why not take a bigger hall?
Yeah, Sunday evening, we'll be almost like 100, 120.
No, if we had a bigger hall, the kirtan could be better.
Yes, Maharaj.
I like to dance. I like to dance running sometimes.
So next time you are here, Maharaj, we'll take a big hall and we will not do this mistake. We have many more to invite. Actually, morning time, so not many came.
Yeah.
Evening time, many more will come.
Seems like many to me.
There are many more, Maharaj. We could not call in the morning, but next time you please come here. Let's welcome Trivikrama Maharaj again. Yeah, we'll do a long dancing kirtan. And this 31st December, Maharaj, the New Year day, we already took a big hall, and there are like more than 150, 200 devotees will come.
Are we still in India, man?
Yeah. If you are here, Maharaj, it will be very nice if we can bring you here.
Where are we on the 31st?
Ujjain.
Sorry. I have to go because Bhakti Chu was my dear friend. Bhakti Chu Maharaj. And the sannyasi who was in charge, I knew him because I was in Orlando, so it's just close. Maharaj left his body 20 miles from where I was staying. In Florida. It's a big loss. Prabhupada was very much happy with him. This system.
No, it's a little far, it's coming, Maharaj.
Huh?
If it's a little far, it's coming, sound is coming. You can keep the mic a little close to you, it's not good. Yeah. So Maharaj, we want to, one request is, most of us are like grandchildren of Prabhupada. We could not see Prabhupada, and the next generation is you, and now we are here. So the connection with Prabhupada is, we struggle a little, to connect. Only when we have soulness like you, we get that connection. So if we can please establish that connection in our hearts while you're here, telling things about Prabhupada. And
I'm just coming out with a book. What's it called?
Priceless moments with the pure devotee.
Priceless Moments with the Pure Devotee. So
Very good.
I've recorded all I did have quite a bit of association. But of course, if I tell you everything, you might not buy the book.
Come again and again we'll buy.
Maharaj, 250.
Just teasing.
Maharaj, 250 books are pre-ordered already from this place. 250 books are pre-ordered already. Just tell us when.
Okay. So I was telling how the story where Prabhupada said that he was the representative, or I said, and he said, anybody can represent. But previous to that, when Prabhupada first came, we were in London, of course, and we had the biggest first open program. And sometimes some Hindus were there. There was about 300, 400 people, a lot of Hindus in London, so it was mostly Hindus. And one guy was interrupting, like, what about Lord Shiva? What about that or something? And Prabhupada got really heavy with them. We never saw Prabhupada. Prabhupada was very mild and humble. But he told this guy, sit down, you are nonsense. And so we were, so the next day was a series of lectures. The next day I was giving massage, and I was thinking I'm getting him in shape for another knockout performance. And I was massaging and talking and massaging. And it was kind of like my mood was, me and you, Prabhupada, we could take over the world. So Prabhupada didn't like it. But then suddenly he said, emphatically, he said, no. And my hands like froze on his body. And then he spoke with another voice, like a child, like a 7, 8-year-old boy. He spoke from way from his heart. And he said, I am just a humble servant. So that's really how Prabhupada saw himself. You may think, how is it possible? He was a big master wherever he went. People glorified him. He had big, so many followers and the asasans. But he knew that his real position is that he's a servant of his spiritual master. He's a servant of Krishna. So he wasn't being artificially humble when he said, I am just a humble servant. That was his realization. He was a humble servant. And so he was humble. It wasn't artificial. Of course, sometimes he could be very bold for preaching for Krishna. Like Arjuna had to be bold, shooting the arrows. So Prabhupada said, we in the Kali Yuga, we don't shoot arrows, we fight with our words. But he would fight. I saw him personally kind of annoyed with the Mayavadis, you know, the Ramakrishna mission and these people, because they take Bhagavad Gita, but they twist the meaning. And I saw Prabhupada express that. Why don't they write their own book? Why they take Bhagavad Gita and twist Krishna's words? And it disturbed him that Krishna is clearly saying, Man Manabhava Madhva, you surrender to me, Aham Tamasavapa. And they say everything is one. Or Yatama Jatupad, you can do whatever you want. So Prabhupada didn't like that. And he also mentioned sometimes Krishna had two functions, to save the devotees and to kill the demons. So he said, therefore, this movement should curve down all these so-called movements, Hindu movements. But that's your responsibility. Your friends who are impersonalists, I'm sure you have them, because in India, half the people are in Mayavadis, right? They all, everything is one, right? Or something like that. So we have to learn how to confront them in a respectable way and make them see that this is foolish. If everything is one, where did the variety come from? What caused the variety? There must have been some other energy that caused the one to become many. So that means there's two. You can't get away from it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave perfect philosophy. Achinta, Veda, Veda, Tattva. It's one and also different. It's true, there's nothing outside of God, but within that oneness, there's a variety of energies. Just like fire is one, but has two energies, light and heat. But God is one, but he has multi-energies. And one of them is the living entity, us. Other one is matter. And then there's the Lord himself. Those are three main categories. So a simple philosophy, we have to convince these people. Then please, Prabhupada. Then I was saying how, what time, how much time we have?
We have 1 hour.
When do I leave here? 1 hour. 1 hour. Oh, we get more kirtan. Now I can tell a story about kirtan. We were in Vrindavan in 1974, and Prabhupada had been a little bit ill. He had come there because they were talking about opening the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Janmashtami, but it got delayed. It opened in April. So Prabhupada was there, and every night he would come for the program. So everybody had to come. There was only 40, 45 devotees there. And we all came, and Prabhupada would sit. He didn't take part in the program, so we had to speak. Sannyasis. It was kind of scary, giving Bhagavad Gita class in front of Prabhupada. But we just stick to the, basic points. And then Prabhupada said, okay, and then next to second kirtan. In other words, he minimized the speaking. If somebody spoke too long, he sent his servant and said, that's enough. And he was emphasizing the kirtan. That was his mood, at least at that point, was speak less and chant more. And I imbibed that mood, so I like to, that's why I'm asking if we're going to have time for another kirtan. Because you people are fired up. Okay, so then after one of those programs, it was going on for a couple of weeks, and Prabhupada came back to take rest. It was September, so it was still hot in Vrindavan, and he was sleeping outside. He had one of those wooden beds. The mosquito net wasn't covered, wasn't up yet, but he was sitting on the bed. And Shrutikiti and I were sitting on the ground. And then Prabhupada spoke. He spoke like with real conviction. He said, this kirtan is the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It gives us life. And if we don't get life in the kirtan, simply it's sex life. That's it. And we were all here because we're attached to sex life. It's a fact. My 280, who knows that verse? My 280 here. Sukam. So, kirtan, how is it kirtan can help us
overcome our lust, because we're talking about lust now. How many people only have sex life just for begetting children? Krishna says, I have that sex life, but maybe devotees of it. But in general, people try to have sex life without being responsible, right? They don't want the children. They use contraceptive or abortion or something. So anyway, this is our philosophy, that the biggest binding principle, because there's a pleasure there. We don't deny it. It's like nature's trick, such an intense pleasure, because then it's such an intense pain in the neck to take care of the children for 25 years. So it's compensated. So now, probably that, and we see practically that I'm a passionate person somewhat, right? I mean, I wasn't like an intellectual type who used to just like to read or something. I was always like this. I was in the Navy. I had been with women. So how is it that I'm sannyasi for 50 years? Only because of this kirtan. I'm telling you, it gives me juice. You know, it's a special mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And Prabhupada said that, and it went into my heart. I thought, yes, I'm going to try to emphasize the kirtan. And it works. It really does. I'm 81 now. I don't think I'm going to get married, right? Unless somebody curses me. Please give me a blessing that I can remain sannyas for the last breath.
His Holiness Trivikrama Maharaj ki.
So then, another story, that was in Vrindavan. Yeah. We were saying how Prabhupada loved us. So I was giving massage, I was attached to the service, so I wanted to go with him when he left. Right. He was there for 3 months in London, and we installed a deity and so on. London Ishvara. Shishi Radha London Ishvara. That's a whole another story you could tell. So anyway, we are getting ready for Prabhupada to leave just a few days before. And I had been asking him if I could come with him when he left and continue the service of giving massage. But he would say, he was not committal. He said, let's see what Krishna wants. He didn't say yes or no. But then his servant came to me and said to me, stop bothering Prabhupada about going to America. Another devotee, Prabhupada already gave permission for him to give massage to Prabhupada when Prabhupada arrives there. His name is Upendra. So I thought probably that's the case. But I wanted to double check. So I was driving Prabhupada. I was the masseur and chauffeur. I was driving Prabhupada in London. They drive on the wrong side of the road. Or you people in India drive on the wrong side. So anyway, we were driving and I said to Prabhupada, very clearly, there's only 2 of us in the car. I said, Srila Prabhupada, your Purushottam, his servant, said that Upendra is going to be giving you a massage when you come to America. So Prabhupada responded with utter silence. Not a word, not a peep, didn't look at me. It was just like I hadn't even said it. So then I realized this is an indication that what Purushottam said was true, and I'm not going. I digested that and I accepted it. Okay, I'm not going, it's all right. I'm brahmachari, I can manage wherever I go. And but the silence was still there. So I wanted to break the silence. At the same time, let Prabhupada know that I was resigned to not going. So I said, Srila Prabhupada, I never met Upendra. He's a nice boy. And then Prabhupada turned to me and said, not as nice as you. It was breaking my heart. That Prabhupada loved me. I saw that. He had many times. I could see that it wasn't just a formal thing, guru disciple. He loved me. And therefore I didn't mind being chastised because I knew it was to make me a better person. Shri Prabhupada ki. But some of you must have direct communication with Prabhupada. How many have had dreams of Prabhupada? Only a couple, huh? I once gave a class in Belarus, Minsk. Minsk is the capital of Belarus, and I asked about this many people, no, more maybe. How many had dreams of Prabhupada? More than half raised their hand. So I asked this boy, what was your dream? He said, well, I was a disciple of Harikesh, and Harikesh fell down. And I was thinking, he was so more advanced than me. If he couldn't become a devotee, how can I do it? So I was feeling really hopeless. And in that hopeless mood, I took rest. And Prabhupada came to me in a dream. And he said, why do you say hopeless? I'm here. And he woke up, he said, wow, what came to me. And then he was a good devotee. So the point is, I think you're not having many dreams because you're getting so much confirmation from the kirtan and from each other. You don't need to get special mercy, because it is special mercy. If Prabhupada's coming to you. Yeah, in other words, this boy was really in distress. And so Prabhupada was attracted. Dina Bandhu, right? What do we say? What does that mean, Dina Bandhu?
Deliverer of fallen.
Savior of those who are in anxiety, who are really need help. But that was Prabhupada's mood. So if but you don't really, I can see just by looking at you, that all of you practically are happy that means you're making advancement. If you're making advancement, then your guru can help you, the sadhu can help you, the shastra can help you. So only in extreme circumstance, Prabhupada will get involved. He will, though. He's made a commitment for that. That's another, I'll tell the story. We're coming back from a morning walk in Los Angeles. So we drove Prabhupada to the Palisades. It's on the coast there, and we walked there. So coming back in the car, I wasn't the driver. I was in the back seat. And Prabhupada and the driver were in the front seat. And we came back to the LA temple, which is like a whole block we have there. And the houses on that block all belong to the devotees. So the whole block was like people were out on a block, but we came back a different way and they didn't see us. So they were out there, they were waiting for Prabhupada. They had their bead bag, the children, had devotees and saris, even the children were like. So Prabhupada saw that. And then suddenly he spoke. He spoke with the same full conviction. He said, they cannot check this movement. This movement will go unchecked for the next 10,000 years. So you should understand you're part of a movement that's going to go unchecked. There may be things that cause problems, but we just keep Prabhupada in the center. Things will work out. He's ready to help us. Doesn't mean we're Rick Fix. We're very much in favor of the Diksha Guru is required. In other words, these Rick Fix are crazy because they're thinking that Prabhupada's going to have to be troubled to give for the next 10,000 years to take each Bhakta Bab or Bhakta Vivek and deal with them. So no, there should be Diksha Guru. He gives the neck beads, he gives the spiritual name, and he can help you. But the GBC has already declared that if one feels that he can get more direct, you can say benefit by directly accepting Prabhupada as the primary guru connecting us to Krishna, he can do that. In other words, guru connects us to Krishna. So if you feel Prabhupada can connect you to Krishna, then you get initiated, but your Diksha Guru won't mind. You tell him, I'm getting a lot of inspiration reading Prabhupada's books, and I feel like I have a personal relationship with him. No guru is going to say, "Oh, don't do that." They're happy. They'll be happy that you're developing a relationship with Prabhupada. And so not everybody will want to do that. Many of you will be happy with the guru you have. You feel you're fully satisfied there, then that's okay too. But the people are wrong when they say that. In other words, Krishna came to reestablish parampara. And they're saying Prabhupada came to stop it. No more parampara. Isn't that what they're saying? Henceforth, in July 77, yeah. Prabhupada is going to be everybody's guru. It's not true. And even in the last day, or the last month, Prabhupada, there was one Bengali gentleman was coming in Vrindavan to meet Prabhupada, and he wanted to get an initiation from Prabhupada. But Prabhupada told Tamal, it's right there in the conversations, that in this condition, I can't do it. I mean, in the last month, Prabhupada was, he needed help to walk, to do anything. So he stopped. He said, then Tamal said, so I'll stop for now. And Tamal very intelligently said, stop watching, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, stop initiating. Prabhupada stopped initiating while he was on the planet. Previous to that, he was giving Ritvik. The Ritviks were Prabhupada's disciples. The priest was one of us. I wasn't personally known, but one of the disciples. And but when in Prabhupada's book, there's a book of Prabhupada's disciples, and it was recorded that he's Prabhupada's disciple, but he was initiated by a Ritvik initiation. But everybody knew that when Prabhupada left the planet, that would stop, and because Prabhupada had chosen these 11 people. There was no question in anybody's mind until about 3 years later, when one or two of the gurus started having trouble. Then they came up with this Ritvik philosophy. It's like a reaction to the fact that some gurus fell down. Because then they concluded that Prabhupada couldn't have made the gurus, and he's the only guru. I'm bringing it up because these people are here, right?
Yeah.
So don't be influenced by them. It's foolish philosophy. One of them came to me the other day and was saying that he doesn't feel happy, but he's afraid to, he was kind of looking like this when he was talking to me. He wants to leave them, but it's a little hard to do. Anyway, that's on the side. But Prabhupada very much wanted his disciples to initiate, some of them. And even more, like he was saying, we can have thousands of spiritual masters. Of course, another controversy is the woman spiritual masters. And they better not get into it. Unless somebody has a question. When Prabhupada was asked, he said yes, but not many. So I don't see why it's such a big thing if some lady initiates somebody in Alachua, Florida. But there are those who take it very seriously that this will spoil this time. So I don't want to get involved so much because this is India. But I'm just a little worried about schism. If the India Bureau is insisting on something and then the North American GBC, they think, and then we have two movements, I would be very unhappy if that happened, because I saw personally how much Prabhupada struggled to keep this mission as one, because he saw what happened to his Guru Maharaj's mission that is splintered. Every sannyasi had his own mission. Even now, there's like 78 Gaudiya Mas. So it's easy, it can easily happen. The tendency is that when you start initiating, then you think, what do I need? These people have this, like this is my family. Don't bother me. And so the different movements will come. So the Prabhupada's conception of the GBC body as the ultimate managing authority has avoided it, at least for the last 45 years. There's been no schism. But otherwise, look at Christianity, there's a schism. Or early on, Muslims, Shia and Sunni, and they're still killing each other in the name of Muhammad, right? So we don't want something like that to happen. It's coming. That's my anxiety that we may, in the name of purity, we may split the movement. Okay, back to one more story about Prabhupada. He was concerned about each and every one of his disciples. He would have spent more time, and he was traveling. Like his health wasn't good from the very beginning. His health wasn't good. He had stroke. He had another heart attack. Even a year later, I didn't even remember that, but I was just reading a couple of days ago. So Prabhupada's health was always delicate, you can say, and he saw what happened to his godbrother, to his Guru Maharaj's mission. So he wanted to have a united mission. He gave the example of one stick can break, but if we have a bundle of sticks, we can't break it. But concerned. They keep this movement strong. Another point is, just like the Pope. If the Pope died tomorrow, it would be in the news, headlines, right? Why? Because he's one person in charge of, it's a united movement to some degree, Roman Catholics, right? But in the same way, if we just split her up and everybody's Gaudiya, Vaishnava, this way, then we won't have the same club. Prabhupada's move was to really influence the whole world. He wanted to do that. You're the kind of people who can do it. You know, you're intelligent, you're educated. As you get older, you're going to have more influence. Why not? One of you can be the, prime minister, or at least some kind of minister, and then influence more. Like, or we can make our Modi
Tribol.
So like that, we can. That was Prabhupada's mission. He even went. Generally said sannyasi shouldn't see a woman, but Prabhupada went to see Indira Gandhi. Why? Because he was always thinking of how this mission can spread all over the world. And he called it what? ISKCON, International Society. He didn't want just one section. He wanted everyone to take part. And I saw that also when I was giving massage. In 1969, he was thinking about it. And he formed the GBC. And then we got word while I was massaging at that period that we had just gone to Africa for the first time. And Prabhupada was kind of teasing me, testing me. He said, we don't need to go there all over the world. I said, no, Prabhupada, we have to be all over the world. So then Prabhupada like, he wanted it, International Society. And it's predicted, like he said, 10,000 years. So why not remain united? By hook or by crook, we have to tolerate each other. There's a different culture, no doubt. So people ask me, how come you haven't come to India in the last 20 years? My nature sometimes is a little bit, the Indians get put off. I'm too straightforward. Maybe I'm better now than I was 20 years ago. But I used to get on Indians' case and they get really insulted. How can you talk to me like that? And so I saw that. I was a co-director in Mayapur for 6 months. Prabhupada had to leave, and Prabhupada asked me to co-direct with Trivikrama. But I could see it's like, well, maybe it's the Bengalis, I don't know, but I couldn't, it was hard for me, the politics, I don't like politics. So I would just come in and say, what is this crap? And they didn't like it so much. So I don't know even now if I could fit in. It can be too heavy, like I was going to beat him up, right? Because he made that noise. So you have to understand our culture is different, our way of upbringing is different. So, but somehow we should all work together to keep Prabhupada in the center. I'm just afraid of the schism. How much time I have?
Half an hour more.
30 minutes. Okay. We can chant.
Maharaj, I have a question. Maharaj, when we hear about, when we see Prabhupada being welcomed in airports or Prabhupada being welcomed in a temple, the amount of fire and charged up, all the devotees in those days, how do we get that now? I mean, in our generation, how do we get that now?
You have people like Radhanath, when he comes, everybody gets excited. Maharaj comes. Even with me, you were going. I thought you were going bonkers here. So, obviously, we're not at the same level as Prabhupada. That was the mistake that the Gurus made. They started thinking at the same level. Guru is one. I was involved in the Guru reform. That was the argument I would get. I went to Kirtananda, I went to even Tamal, I went to try to Satsarup even to tell them, this is too much fanfare for these 11. Prabhupada is being minimized. But they thought they were doing fine. So they only learned when they started falling down. Like Hansa Duda, I worked with him after Prabhupada left. he made the point, the guru is one, just like a policeman. If I'm the policeman and like in San Francisco, Berkeley is across from San Francisco. So if the policeman in San Francisco apprehends you, you can't say, wait a minute, you're not my policeman. I'm from Berkeley. So in the same way, guru is one. That was his argument. Well, therefore, and then the other argument was, I didn't ask to become guru. Everybody knows the guru is perfect, so I'm perfect. They started thinking like that, some of them. They started thinking they were at the same perfected level as Prabhupada. Then they fell down. The same guy was having sex with his disciples and shooting guns into. He left his body now. Hansadutta, he was a good singer, Prabhupada, and liked him. But he became crazy. We used to call it DAD, dreaded Acharya disease. They thought they were Acharyas at the same level as Prabhupada. And so it didn't work like that. But we got through that period. Now everybody understands there's no guru who's thinking he's at the same level as Prabhupada. And it's going on 45 years. And it's working pretty well. I don't think Prabhupada would be disappointed with the way it's working. I'm very inspired coming here in India after all these years. See, there's so much enthusiasm wherever I went. Every temple, every city, there's so many temples, and I'm very inspired. And now where am I going next? Pune. Pune is going to be inspiring too, I heard.
Oh, yes.
During the last days of Prabhupada, he always mentioned that to be cooperative with each other.
Yeah.
And during that time, like maybe most of the sannyasis are between 20s and 30s. How you were able to cope up with the separation of Prabhupada, and you are still young at that time? How you managed the separation from Prabhupada?
I did get a very important dream from him at that time. I could relate it, I guess. Like I say, I was active in the Guru Reform movement from early on, because a letter had come in 1979 from a person who I respect as a devotee, and he was like a, how to say it, he had some extraordinary extrasensory perception qualities. So he was receiving message from Prabhupada, and he would write them like a speed writer. And so some of the points I thought were really good. The three main points that ISKCON was wrong. This is like early on, ISKCON was wrong. The GBC didn't correct it. First of all, anybody could get initiated from any zone, but the system that they had at the time was, if you were in Tamal Krishna's zone, you had to get initiated by him. If you were in Bhavananda's zone, you had to get it. So that's artificial. You should be able to choose any guru from ISKCON. But that was one mistake they were making. Second mistake was simultaneous Guru Puja. Every morning we had Guru Puja, but at the same time, same place, the new gurus would be worshipped. And with a Vyasa-san, this much lower than Prabhupada's. So there was one pujari with Prabhupada, and everybody was with Kirtananda. He was throwing cookies, and everybody was Bhakti Bhajan, running, and this is not pleasing to Prabhupada. I didn't feel it was right. And then this letter confirmed it. There shouldn't be simultaneous. That's the problems are coming, Prabhupada said in his message. Because instead of worshiping me, they're accepting worship in the same place, same time, same quality, and therefore they're becoming private. And the third point was that the way they dealt with their God brothers. In other words, from the very beginning, they dealt with the God brothers like they were disciples. The God brothers were obliged to make asasans for them, big asasans, and put them in the temple. The God brothers were obliged to write in their book that came every year, glorifying them. I mean, I didn't get into it, but I was like an outcast. Practically, at one point, I wasn't welcome in any temple because, like Ramesh always said, don't let him come because all he does is criticize the gurus. So I wasn't just criticizing the gurus. I was trying to, help them because I saw what happened to Hansadutta up close. He went crazy. And I was hoping we could save that for others from going too far into imitation. The Nectar Devotion says, if we imitate a Mahabhagavat, eventually we become degraded. That quote is there. So that's what they were doing. Not all. Some were humble and they're still going on. But many fell down because they were imitating instead of following. So where does that bring us? Oh, you were asking?
I mean, how did you manage the separation?
That's how I managed, by taking a stand and being thrown out of places. Okay. But I preached. I just preach. I was preaching about Prabhupada's exalted position, and I'm still preaching about that. He's a special, he's not an ordinary spiritual master. He's empowered by Lord Nityananda, Shaktivesh. That's my faith. That he was sent there, what is it? Dr. Chu used to quote about this. Senapati?
Senapati.
Explain what that means.
Captain of the army. He was captain of the army, who's going to propagate the holy name around the world.
Yeah, so Prabhupada was predicted by Lord Chaitanya. He's going to preach all over the world. So what's the problem? Anybody have a problem with that? So we keep him in the center, and then we can go on with this movement for 10,000 years. Otherwise, if every sannyasi is going to put himself in the center, then the thing stops. It splinters into hundreds. The first schism is the hardest one. The second one is easier. Once you do it once, or there'll be some malcontents here. They'll say, "No, we're on." And then you come back 50 years, 100 years later, there'll be 45 ISKCONs, 100. Yes. Anyone else?
10,000 years is the prediction.
Yeah.
Only 10,000 years. The parampara is
For 10,000 years, and then the Kali Yuga will become so powerful that the preaching will stop, and Kalki will come after them. And instead of preaching, he just kills them all. And if those who are devotees he doesn't kill, then they usher into the next age. Satya Yuga begins again. So, but Prabhupada was asked about that. Well, what about 10,000 years? He said, all my disciples will be back to guide them. So don't worry, just stick with Prabhupada's lotus feet, and he'll take us all back. He's the captain of the boat. So the boat is ISKCON. We can all be on the boat. And maybe on the boat, even in Prabhupada's time, there was different authorities who were higher and lower. There was some hierarchy. There were temple presidents, GBC, and sannyasi. And everybody didn't have access to Prabhupada as years went on. In the beginning, anybody had. In 67, 68. But then gradually it was too much, so Prabhupada delegated. We couldn't just walk in and see Prabhupada. I could because I had a danda from 71. So they couldn't, the Prabhupada servant stopped me. I would say, get out of here. And Prabhupada always accepted me. He was happy to see me. So I was fortunate. I was bold enough to get in and humble enough not to get destroyed by the acclaim. Just like coming in here today, it's like, I don't deserve all this honor that you're giving me. If I start thinking that this is due to me, then I'll be finished. But fortunately, I've learned over the years that I'm just a rascal, but by good fortune, I connected with Prabhupada. That's my only qualification. I agreed to allow Prabhupada to guide me. The only qualification I have. So you're all going to have that same qualification. Prabhupada's ready to guide us. Why not? If you're sincere, he's looking for sincere souls. I mean, for me, it was probably necessary to have the Vapu form. There's Vani and Vapu. When I start going like this, it means I'm talking too much.
Can I have some water? You want warm water, Maharaj? Maharaj, today morning we had Bhagavatam class, and one devotee had asked a question. I did not have full answer. The question is, Maharaj, in Gaudiya Math, when we see the altar in Gaudiya Math temples, there is Radha Krishna and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We don't see Nityanand Prabhu there that often. But when Prabhupada established Gaur Nitai, he also brought Nitai. So
Yeah,
how do we
he even
understand?
brought Balaram,
Yeah,
Krishna
Krishna
Balaram,
Balaram.
temple in Vrindavan.
yeah. So what was the mood and how do we understand between Gaudiya Math and
I went to the farm here. You have beautiful Balaram here.
Yeah,
Krishna
Krishna
Balaram.
Balaram.
I saw that yesterday. Yeah, how do we explain it? Well, because Prabhupada is an Amsa of Lord Nityananda. So his mood was like that. To be bold, to boldly preach. Whereas those who just emphasize Radharani, they can get into this Sahaja mood easily. Sahaja means, yes, last night I was dancing with Krishna. They wear saris and the men. Prabhupada didn't like that. From the beginning, he curbed that tendency. There was one group in Los Angeles. They called themselves the Gopi Bhava Club. And they would read only in Prabhupada's books about the part with Krishna and the gopis. So when Prabhupada came there, he heard about that from Roshan. And he was alarmed. What? They're not reading Bhagavad Gita? What's wrong? The Bhagavad Gita is for neophytes. That was them. But we're very advanced, because we're going to be gopis. So Prabhupada didn't like it. His comment was, first of all, deserve, then desire. First, deserve to be a gopi, then desire. So we shouldn't worry about what is our rasa. So I don't know what you're talking about, but that can come. That came into Bhaktisiddhanta movement, that Sahaja Prabhupada talked about it. And it's coming to ISKCON also. There's some devotees. I mean, I don't know, they're not in ISKCON, but they're Prabhupada's disciples and they're preaching the same thing. That we should emphasize our relationship with Krishna. Or what is your rasa? And they're always asking each other, So Prabhupada was asked that, he said, no, that will come automatically. Therefore, it said that if Bhaktivinoda says, if someone says, come, I'll teach you rasa, there are two things, either he's a fool or he's a cheater. Because you don't learn rasa, it's what you are. What is your actual swarup? What is your actual feeling towards Krishna? How do you want to serve him? But that won't be known until you become pure devotee. At least you have to get past the stage of anartha nivritti, all the bad habits. You be steady. You have to shut up again. But what about if there's some good singer here? Who's the best singer? Did somebody play harmonium?
Yes.
So who could sing? The lady? That lady was singing when he came in. She was a good singer. Or let's just hear some nice.
When was the time you last visited Hyderabad?
I don't know exact date. In the 70s. When Prabhupada was still on the planet. Ooh, be careful.
Give some space to her.
Come on, we have to make room. Come close.
Come close. We're very happy, Maharaj, that you have come to India and to Hyderabad. Very, very grateful.
I have a disciple. He's an Indian boy, Brahmin by birth. Now he wants to be full-time preacher. So should I send him here? Would you let him
Oh, yes.
organize things? He's good at fundraising. Then we could have one big temple, right? But maybe you don't want that. It's both ways. Right? If you meet, what you have now is working, right? You're having You meet once a week, everybody from all the different
Yes,
centers?
yes, yes,
But then you have to rent a place.
yes.
What did you?
Yeah, will you give the mic? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Rama. Hare
Ki Jai. ISKCON Foundation, the whole world, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Advaita Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premananda. All glories to this one. Hare Krishna. Glories to this one. Hare Krishna. Glories to this one. Hare Krishna. Glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga.
If you wish to have His Holiness Trivikrama Swami Maharaj again, his association again for the satsang, say the loudest 3 Hari Bols.
You get a system that doesn't give feedback. Okay, thank you for inviting me.
Maharaj is giving the first. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And Maharaj, he also very nice building of prayer. He is the brother.
Yeah, he's played Madonna nice. That's a it's neat. Okay. Thank you. My father
కొన్ని ఓట్స్ అలా ఉన్నాయి అదే